Our True DFS Daily Show. We're going to be talking through our favorite plays in the slate. It's a weird slate. I will let you guys fill in and ask questions because I think there's still a lot of information to come, and we really need to know about things like Kevin Porter. We need to know about things we don't know about. Christian Wood, I'm shocked that he's going to be playing, and that whole game opens wide up if that happens. I'll give everybody a minute or two to get in here, and I'll probably just be here till at the very latest 6:30. Because I think we can cover what we need to cover, and then I need to finish building my lineups because we're in a holding pattern. To be honest with you, we really don't have a lot of the things that I want to know about yet, and all the value seems a bit suspect. I also want to wait for some starting lineups to come out, see what Philly does without Harris. I'm assuming it'll be Niang. Not 100% sure it'll be Niang. Things like that, but it probably will end up being Yang. There's a couple of other play. I think guys like Seth Curry. I've got to write him down because I didn't put him in my initial lineups. But it definitely gets a boost without Tobias Harris. But to tell you what I've got right now as priority plays, it's at the high end. Embiid and Luka are my two favorites. I like the game stack with New Orleans and Dallas. Again, just hope it stays close and Dallas doesn't make 9 million threes in a row. I like the game stack with Houston and Orlando. And I like, some of my individual top plays, guys who I'm high on that other people might not be on as much on DK. I like Lowry and Hero fine. I have them sort of split up. Turner, I think, is a really interesting off the board GPP play. We have other guys who are going to be really chalky, and he's not consistent at all, obviously, but he's more consistent than maybe people think. And at 6K, I think it's reasonable. I do have a lot of Niang at the moment, a lot of Brandon Ingram, a lot of Devontae Graham, a lot of Imani Brooks, a ton of Jalen Brunson on both sides, some Draymond Green, and same guy in the same price guy, DeAndre Ayton, assuming that game stays close, of course. What's up, X Factor? But pop in your questions as soon as you get in here because I want to go through and you guys know I hate doing live, solo shows. But I want to go through and get my lineups together. And I'm hoping we get some more clarity on what's happening because I can't remember a big slate that was even this late in the day, any day this season that we haven't had information or real glaring value. And I think that Jalen Brunson and Yang are both really good value. But I think Brunson is really good value. I think Yang, it could go either way. But at the moment, I'm planning on playing him more. And then we got guys like Terrence Ross in our lives at 3,100, Danilo Gallinari at 4,100. I like these guys fine. Caleb Martin, Imani Brooks. But Imani Brooks becomes an awesome play if we have no Kevin Porter. Probably still playable if we do have Kevin Porter. You would think with this Houston situation they would wait and see with these young guys, they would just give them a day off. So what if it's a bad game, but if give Wood and Tate a day off if Wood was in a walking boot the other day. It's kind of crazy. So pop in questions and thoughts. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm treating this slate like I do a lot of other ones. We still have a lot of stuff we don't know yet. So I'm trying to just do the best I can with what we do currently have. It's tough. Does Doncic overtake Embiid to top spend up with KP out? Well, no. So, see, the thing is that's the whole point though. Embiid has Tobias Harris out. So I don't see it, but yes, Doncic, those are my two favorite spend ups. So that's the way I'm treating it. That's the best way I can answer it. I think I have pretty much even shares of both of them, maybe a little bit more Embiid, but that's where I'm at right now. What's up to Rashad? What's up, K9 Bronco? And let's try and figure out a way to make some money here. So I'm sorry, I just got coming back to the house. Anyway, sorry guys, but. Yeah, so basically, we've got the weird stuff we're waiting on, and I don't really know how to address the value and things like that in the meantime. But that's where I'm at. So let's see. Any risk on Ayton sitting on second of a back-to-back with some injury issue last week? It's you'd think that if they were going to do that, they would have just saved him for the Golden State game. It's always a possibility, but I don't think that I would be betting on that being the most likely scenario. It's hard to figure out the late stuff because the Lakers situation even still feels a little bit in flux to me. So I feel like things could go either way there. Anyway, that's basically that stuff. Sorry, I'm a little distracted, guys. Keep going. Houston Orlando line fishy. Interesting. Like, in what sense? I think that it's a little higher than I would have thought. They do both play pretty fast, but they're pretty ineffective. Um, so it's not really like a. I don't know. It's not really like a. I don't know what part of the line would be fishy. I thought Orlando. Yeah, I guess it is a little bit fishy in the sense that I would pick Orlando to win this game. In fact, I put it as one of my bets of the day, which have been guys. They've been just crushing. Follow us on TrueDFS and I'll check out my bets of the day. There have been, whether it's player prop bets, whether it's game bets, they've just been absolutely on fire, and it's something we want to try and take advantage of when things are like that. So, anyway, interest in Tatum. Yes, I do like Tatum a little bit, and I would want to run it back with either Mitchell or Gobert, preferably Mitchell. But it's falling a little bit beneath some of the other guys I like. So that's kind of the problem I'm struggling with the Tatum thing. But I do like, I like high volume usage players against Orlando. They certainly make sense to me, but I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I'm sort of stuck on the Tatum thing because I initially thought I probably would take some more shots there, but I also thought we'd have more glaring value than we currently have, which we very well may have in the next hour to hour and a half. Certainly before we also need to know about Josh Hart, what's happening in that situation. I like Josh Hart as a play if he's in. If he's out, I like Herb Jones a little bit more just for the amount of minutes and Devontae Graham a little bit more, but I already like those. I already like Devontae Graham anyway, whether Hart plays or not. Ross over Hampton. I didn't. I looked at a lot of things today. I mean, unless I'm totally missing something, I have got zero interest in Hampton. I don't even know let me see. Is there anything that's making that stand out? Hampton, I came through a lot of lineups today. I don't think RJ Hampton is a viable play unless you somehow think this game turns into a blowout. Terrence Ross at least is. I mean, RJ Hampton on his regular rotation with this lineup is like 12 to 16 minutes. He's had some games that when Cole Anthony was out and when they were in massive blowout spots that he got run and put up big numbers, but has done absolutely not one. Had one game we would have even find mildly acceptable. And I don't love Terrence Ross either, to be honest with you. So I'm going to probably take a shot or two on Ross because he at least gets the 20 plus minutes. I know he'll shoot. But I don't find either of those guys to be particularly go out of your way to try and play them plays. In fact, I would say that even if you happen to be right once, you're going to be wrong so many more times than right by playing a guy like RJ Hampton on this kind of a slate. I would rather just completely gamble on somebody later on the later part of the slate and hope that somebody was ruled out because I just can't. I can't see a viable path for Hampton to even get the minutes that he would need. Now, if you're playing 150 lineups and you want to throw him into one, that's fine with me. And if he has the weird outburst of whatever game, he played 11 minutes the last game, 14 minutes the bunch before. The last games with Cole Anthony, I don't think he's played more than I think he had one 19-minute game in a blowout with Cole Anthony that Cole Anthony played. But I don't know how anybody's blowing anybody out here. Now he could play well off the bench, but I just can't, even with all the lack of value that we see right now, that just feels like a force. FanDuel, Harden or Luka, that's a great question. I do like Harden quite a bit on FanDuel. I'll be completely honest. I have them completely split down the middle at the moment. I have 50% of Luka, 50% of Harden, and not really together very much. Actually, what's odd to me is on FanDuel, I think you want to stack the first game a little bit. Hero, Lowry, Sabonis, LeVert, Brogdon, all those guys, even Duarte mixed in, although he's a little bit higher over there. I think you can play, and Turner. I think that all those guys are completely viable on FanDuel as a stack, and I think that actually works out pretty well because I think it's an up-pace spot for Miami, and Miami's defense isn't the same without Bam and Butler. So it kind of works in everybody's favor, and on top of it, we have a little bit. They're a little bit thin in Indy right now, so I kind of like that game stack over there. Keep firing in the questions. Keep firing in some thoughts. We still don't have any brand new updates. We're gonna have to probably get those in the next. Unfortunately, probably have to get off, but I'll, tag me when you try to ask a question. And please, if you do it 3 minutes before and expect me to answer, it's going to be not going to happen because I'll be adjusting to it myself. But if you do it as quickly as you hear it, I'll try to respond as fast as I'm able to. But I think Harden and Luka are both tremendous plays and are obviously cheaper on FanDuel for a reason. And by the way, Seth Curry should be in that conversation as well in terms of spend ups. I'm having a hard time fading Kyle Lowry on FanDuel. I just don't think I'm going to. Other guys I like though tonight on FanDuel more so than DraftKings, but D'Angelo Russell. I like Jalen Brunson on both sides. I like LeVert way better on FanDuel. Paul George on FanDuel and I don't like him on DraftKings particularly, but I do like him on FanDuel at that price. Bogdanovich is really cheap, and you could use him on either site. That's just an interesting like mid-tier. Hey, he could get hot type of situation for Bogdanovich. So that I'm open to. I think I want to get more Gallinari and more Herder. Not necessarily together, that's probably not together, but I do think both those guys are going to have big opportunities with the lack of Bogdanovich and the lack of Cam Reddish in the lineup. So, all right, any interest in Caleb Martin about? Yeah, man, I actually do, and I hate it, to be honest with you. I don't like that I'm making that play on this slate, but I am doing it, and I have it as a sort of a mini stack too, the way that I am using him, like whether I'm playing him with Hero and Turner or Hero and Brogdon or something like that, because at least then I have some more logic to the game correlation kind of a thing. And that overpriced for Sabonis will keep people off of him on DraftKings. And I was sort of flirting with the idea of maybe playing him a little bit. Currently, I have him 15% on DraftKings, which obviously isn't much, and his usage is not the same without with all these guys healthy. But I do think that Miami front line is not the same thing without Bam and without, to be honest, the whole defense in general is not the same without Butler. And who are they going to match up with him? Because Dedmon is probably going to match up with you're going to see Dedmon against Turner. I guess they'll put Dedmon on. Actually, I think Dedmon on Sabonis even makes in some ways more sense. And to PJ Tucker, as good as a defender as he is, I just don't know if he's big enough to guard Sabonis. And it's interesting. Maybe they'll put Tucker on Turner. I don't know which way it's going to go, but they do seem a little undersized, especially once you get past those guys. There's really nobody. I mean, there's Paulo who might play a few minutes, but everybody else is small. I think Duncan Robinson is a good long shot tournament play tonight. I think that we see the game log. It's all very disheartening, and people all playing him for some reason without Jimmy and Bam as if he's going to handle the ball or do anything different than what he normally does. And he doesn't. He's been ice cold from three. And once he starts making his threes again, I think he'll have a chance to go on catch fire. And we've seen Indy give up a bunch of threes. So I do like Duncan Robinson as a long shot in that game. Who's the biggest beneficiary? Tate and Brooks. That would be the answer to KPJ being out. Do I like Otto? No, I don't. I think Otto Porter is another example of what are we doing? The only reason why you want to play a guy like Otto Porter is hoping that there's some late breaking news. Now, is he a better play than he was before? Because he's had some high minutes games and he played incredibly well. And it was incredibly efficient. I still am not finding a way to really get to him here. Did play really well against Phoenix last time, put up 31 fantasy points, put up 40 before that against the Clippers. Maybe with the Phoenix matchup, you could argue he could get some more run in this type of game. I guess it's okay. It's just not what I'm doing. I think on FanDuel, it makes more sense. So yeah, I'm okay with it on FanDuel. And if nothing else happens, I may end up doing it and having some 3v3s wet ready in case anything happens in the later games. But I think I should take back what I said at first, all gems. I think he is actually viable more than I initially said. Guys, any more questions? Pop them on in here. We have still no news, and I have no idea what the hell's happening. Just feels like some kind of major thing is going to happen in the next hour, and we want to be ready for that. So unless there's anything else, I'll give it a minute. My girlfriend just got back, so I want to go say hi to her before I finish building my lineups. Oh, Aldridge a trap tonight. I think Aldridge is definitely – I don't see how he's going to run in that game. It's going to be hard to see. But the price makes sense, and the production's been great. He still looks good offensively. I don't know how it works. I think they're going to play Claxton more minutes than maybe he's being accounted for. The problem is he's just been so sick and so beaten up for so long. I don't know how much he can actually get. But the other KPJ answer is Christian Wood also benefits. He would be the third beneficiary, but his prices and the fact that he was in a walking boot after the last game leaves me a little bit concerned. So I probably won't do that. But basically the whole team gets a huge boost, and you'll see it reflected in the projections as soon as that happens. So, all right. Anything else to cover that maybe we didn't? There is a sneaky, like this Lakers Clippers thing something feels off to me. Could just be my paranoia based on how the season's gone, but I just feel like there's some, or in the Golden State Phoenix game, like you said, Phoenix on a back to back. Would DeAndre Ayton possibly sit? It doesn't seem like, how can you do that? How could you sit DeAndre Ayton when you've got, when you're playing this team? At the same time, I don't know. Like, dude, they already beat him once, don't they? Can they just sort of say, "Hey, we're sitting Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton tonight"? But wouldn't we have known about that night right now? Because I believe that's a nationally televised game. I actually have to check this TV schedule on that one, double check it. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. I'm going to take a quick look here. And no, NBA TV schedule. There we go. Right, we have to have the ESPN, Phoenix Golden State. I thought initially before the season, I think they have flexible ones. They would have probably switched over to probably would have started the season at Clippers, Lakers, but now it's Phoenix Golden State. So you assume with those national televised games, they have to get the word in early because the league doesn't like it. So keep popping in thoughts. This is really, like, I can't believe it, how bizarre this slate has gotten, or how it hasn't gotten bizarre. I've just been waiting. I'm still sitting here feeling I'm waiting to make my decision. So that's why I can just prioritize the guys who I like as spend ups. But prioritizing the value is pretty brutal right now. I mean, this is not. We haven't had a slate without value like this in a long time, and I just still feel like it's going to come at some point. So we're stuck playing guys who are very thin, like. I think Yang is, I don't think it's like he's crazy thin, but it's thin. It's not like he has to put up 20 fantasy points. We've seen it plenty of times with him where he even gets the minutes and doesn't get there. And I mean, he was playing like 38 minutes. He put up 21 fantasy points in one of those games, and I don't think he's going to play 38 minutes tonight. Jalen Brunson doesn't feel thin to me. That feels like a legitimate play. I'm actually a little surprised that everybody sort of hasn't consensusly gotten on the giant Brunson is a really good play thing. With KP out, he really does get a huge boost. And I know people are going to play him, but his actual fantasy projection, I would have like closer to, well, I guess it is getting closer. It was at 29 earlier in the day. Now it's up to 33 from where I'm looking. So I actually guess they did kind of increase it a little bit, because I think he's got a great chance. And that whole game is a great environment. Yeah, sure. I should drop a super draft question. Thoughts on Horford on FanDuel? Considered it at one point. I don't think it's a good play. That's where I'm at. But Horford a million times this year has had good games when I still didn't think he was a good play. He is reasonably priced. I don't know what else to say with him. The minutes and the production have been way cut down from what we saw earlier in the season, and hasn't really put up a 40 fantasy point game in forever, which is something you'd kind of want. I'd rather play Wendell Carter than him. I do have an off the board weird play for you guys if anybody's interested. And that's maybe it's not that weird, but I think both Gafford and Harrell are extremely valuable on both sides. And if you want to pivot just directly off of Dedmon, I would consider those guys. It's pretty interesting pivots over there. That's where I'm at anyway. All right, let's talk about some more stuff, guys. Get some questions in, because I'm going to get out of here as soon as we're done with the questions, because I can't really talk much more about what I'm doing than what I have so far. And those are the guys I'm prioritizing, and the other ways to go. The one guy who I cannot seem to find a fade on one side is I'm sure there's ways to do it, and I just am not that interested in trying to fade Kyle Lowry on FanDuel. I actually have him in one of my big DraftKings lineups. I think he has a big night tonight. And one of he or Hero, I expect to go off. And again, I probably want to get a little Duncan Robinson more than I have already. The Super Draft. So yes, I don't play on Super Draft, but based on that, I think I would take Embiid. Because you'd imagine he'd be lower. Yeah, I think I would take Embiid based on that. That's close. Yeah, no, it's Embiid. It's got to be Embiid, I think, on that question. But with that said, guys, it seems like we're just about hitting the end of this, and I love and appreciate all you guys. What was the other question that I missed? I missed one. They switched off the Lakers to Phoenix Golden State a couple days ago. Yeah, that's what they keep doing. That's what they keep switching that game up. Robinson, 0 points the other night in 20 minutes. Oh, no, I know. I know. Yeah, everybody's been having him. They've all been wrong. I've been the one saying it. But what you do is you pivot when everybody else is going the other way. You have a better matchup for him against a team that gives up threes. And everybody acted like Jimmy Butler and Bam being out is going to benefit him. I don't understand why people think this way. It's just a mistake. He is not a player who does anything at all off the dribble. He plays some defense, he gets some rebounds, and he shoots a ton of threes. That's where you like him. Yeah, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button. We always appreciate it. Also, check out, I see Rody in chat. Check out Rody in my video on football. So appreciate all the love though, guys. I really, really do. And again, I'll be in Discord ready to answer any remaining questions you may have. And let's make some money on this slate. I'm sorry we can't have, I told you exactly what I'm doing, but I still feel like I'm not being decisive enough because I genuinely feel like my lineups may not look anything like what they look like right now in the next hour and a half, just because of the nature of how basketball is these days. And we have so many important Q tags, none more so than Kevin Porter. But then again, we don't know who the other ones are going to be. So Josh Hart's another one we're looking out for. It gives I already like Devontae Graham, but it gives Graham an even bigger boost. Something about this Boston-Utah situation, maybe you could do something with that. It's the one thing I didn't mention. And maybe you could play DeAndre Ayton or something like that with either Draymond or Steph, especially on FanDuel. I think it's more viable. But also that gives you the ability that if we hear of a Laker being out, because honestly, I know LeBron is playing and doesn't have COVID and the tests and everything. We just haven't seen these things go well in general. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It does feel quick. We'll see what happens with that. By the way, if we do get that news late and you have the ability to switch, I would try to just go back to the Westbrook, THT, and then some Davis. Anthony Davis has been the worst statistical player on offense in the NBA this season. He's the worst 3-point shooter. He's the worst mid-range shooter, and he's the worst 10 to 15-foot shooter. This is unbelievable how bad he's been. So before everybody wants to pour and hate on Westbrook as if he ruined everything, Anthony Davis has statistically been the worst. He shoots 16% from 3-point range, the worst. 33% from the mid-range, the worst. 32% from 10 to 15, the worst. These are almost impossible to win when you're running an offense or trying to run part of your offense through that guy. He's been so terrible, just extraordinarily bad. Anyway, guys, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us. Love y'all, and I will. Let's make some money tonight. Let's see some screenshots. Screenshot life. All right, guys. Good luck.